The gap is closing. Every World Cup being played brings Africa closer to when an African team wins the World Cup. This is my own opinion. But yeah, there are facts to back this up. The World Cup is mainly played by Europe and South American teams, and they get to the final most times. But I believe very soon an African team, will get over the line. This is the first time ever that the African continent had 10 representatives, and this video is to give my takeaways, the ranking, positive, negatives, of all the African teams that performed at the just concluded FIFA World Cup in Mexico, Canada, and the USA. And on number 10 is Tunisia. Tunisia had a very disastrous outing. Played 3 games against Netherlands. I think they lost 3-1. They played against Sweden 5-1, which was the first game, and played against Japan. They lost 3-0. I mean, from my findings and my sources, Tunisia played the 3 games, and this is considered their worst ever performance at the FIFA World Cup. Prior to the FIFA World Cup, they really did amazingly well. They did very well on the run to the World Cup. I think they never lost. They played out they had a very good campaign, but unfortunately they changed their manager amidst the World Cup. Like in between the World Cup, they had to change the manager after the first game, which was really bad. I mean, it's still not considered the worst ever performance by an African team. I think the worst ever African performance is Zaire in 1974. I mean, the DRC Congo now, what is called now, it is still the worst ever performance by an African team. But Tunisia, after 3 games, they conceded 11 goals, so I would rank them on number 10. But one thing I would always look out for is the positive. I mean, the positives I'll take from this is that Hannibal, Mejbri, stood out as the shining light, as a bright, very amazing player. He was a very good player. He was trying to, do things, create things, but then unfortunately, it's a team effort. It's not a single player effort. So, I mean, I'll give that to Tunisia. Give Tunisia a few more years, or give Mejbri a few more years. Definitely, he would assert himself into the team properly, and I guess with a new coach, they would have a better outing next time. Yeah, Tunisia at number 10. Tunisia played in Group F, while the next country I would like to talk about, South Africa, which I would rank at number 9, played in Group A. It was the opening ceremony of the FIFA World Cup. Coincidentally, happened to be the opening ceremony of the World Cup in South Africa 2010, where it's also a fixture between South Africa and Mexico. But in this case, it wasn't a 1-1 draw as it was in South Africa, but in this case, it was a 2-0. It was a shambolic game for South Africa in that particular match. For South Africa's campaign, I think they finished well, beating South Korea 1-0 in the last game of their group. After they came back from a very heavy defeat, 2-0, but they were outplayed by the Mexicans. Unfortunately, they were eliminated in the round of 32. And they had a good game, to be very fair to South Africa. They had a good game, but in the 92nd minute, that was when I think Estaquel scored that amazing goal for Canada and put South Africa out of the tournament. Yeah, we were hate watching South Africa, but at that point, I felt it was undeserving because South Africa needed in my opinion, we're supposed to go further than the round of 32. Having Canada, with all due respect to Canada, having Canada as an opponent in the round of 32 prior to what they have already done on the group stage. So I feel like South Africa they would build on this, and in the next tournament they would do practically well. Considering South Africa's World Cup run, I think they will definitely do well when they come back in 2030, hopefully. The standout player in my books would be Mbokazi. I think Mbekezeli Mbokazi, the number 14. He was an outstanding defender. And going over to the 8th position is Ghana. I'll put Ghana at number 8 ranking. Ghana had a solid, but fairly disappointing outing in my books. They had a fairly disappointing outing because Ghana couldn't just match up with their 2010 run in South Africa. There's just something about the Ghanaian team also that I didn't like. Their link-up play wasn't just the best. And there was a guy, the number 10, I'm trying to remember his name, but the number 10 guy featured against Panama in the first game where they won 1-0. But all of a sudden, the coach just forgot about him because he really did well when he came on. He was the one that assisted the number 3, I think Renki. Yeah, he assisted him to the goal, in the dining moments of the match. And I'm surprised how the coach didn't just feature him anymore, and he just went out. But yeah, kudos to Ghana. They did well, but then disappointing in their own rights. I mean, the Ghanaian team are known in Africa to be one of the heavyweights. They are among them. So for Ghana's pedigree in football to their showing at the World Cup, I would rate them at number 8. The standout player for Ghana in this just concluded FIFA World Cup would be Antoine Semenyo. Ghana didn't assert themselves in any of the games. They didn't, go to the referees, challenge decisions that were against their favor. So they were very laid back, just very complacent. In my opinion, they were very complacent. I watched the games, and this is one of the things that I noticed throughout their games, the 3 games in the group stage and also the one in the round of 32. They were not assertive. They were just laid back. From their captain Jordan Ayew to just all the team. It was Semenyo that was a little bit, assertive. Maybe because he played in the Premier League. I don't know if that it played a part, but then it was just my observation. One of the positives of the Ghanaian national team is that they defended well. They defended well as a unit. All their games, they defended very well as a unit. Against Panama, when the game started against Panama attacked Ghana really well. If you watch that game precisely, until Ghana got into their stride, started playing, started coming out, started being more dominant in their style of play, and then they got the goal. Especially when they introduced the number 10 that I talked about. Yeah, he was just very very good in the game, and they defended well. That's one thing I would say. And they also defended well. They just conceded 1 goal against a very high attacking side in Colombia. I would give Ghana just a good 7.5 here, I would say, out of 10. So in Group J, I would rank Algeria at number 7 as the 7th best African nation at the World Cup. They were pitted against Austria, Argentina, who were the finalists, and Jordan. And this was a group that I felt like Algeria had a chance. To be very honest, I felt Algeria had a chance. They also did well in their campaign, the run-up to the World Cup and the qualifiers. They did fairly well, but they had a good performance. I wouldn't say it was a brilliant one. I wouldn't say it was excellent or outstanding. But the striking thing with Algeria in this tournament is, for all African teams that always throughout the tournament, they always get knocked out at the tail end. 15 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, the 10 minutes of the game, stoppage time, they always get knocked out. Which was something I didn't really fancy being an African. I didn't really like that because it felt like we were losing focus. We were quite physical. African teams are quite physical, but then we're not always attentive to the end. But then for Algeria's case, they considered goals very early in both halves. So it wasn't synonymous with the other African nations. So, but yeah, they did fairly well. I would say Algeria did well. They qualified for the knockout stage. One thing again is they played attractive football. Yeah, they wasn't defensive. They opened up. Maybe that's why Argentina could score 3 goals. They opened up. They played fair and square. They competed fair and square, to be fair. For Algeria, also, they also had defensive mistakes. I'll give Algeria a 7.5 over 10 in my own rating. One of the outstanding players for Algeria, I would still pick Riyad Mahrez. To be fair, he was some of the matches he was put on the bench. It wasn't right in my own books. It wasn't right because he needed to be on the field, just as the way Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, all these guys, they always have something to prove at every given point. They would always do something. I mean, Riyad Mahrez scored 2 goals against Austria. They had almost won it before Austria, pulled that one back, and the both teams qualified in the end. But Algeria really, I would say it was a good performance from Algeria also from Group J, and I rank them at number 7. Yeah, at number 6 position of the All African teams in the World Cup, I would tip DR Congo. The performance, showed loudly for a country who hasn't been to the World Cup for 52 years. The 52-year wait was a point. I mean, for a country to come and have a shambolic performance and nobody would, lift a pin against them. But DR Congo, they were one of the success stories of the FIFA World Cup for me in my own books, because the Leopards, they were within minutes of getting to the finish line, against England. And for me, I rate them an 8/10. I rate them an 8/10. It was just amazing. Performance from them, very good performance, I would say. Yeah, the positives are just what I mentioned earlier. The negatives, I would say, is just maybe they couldn't hold on against England. Lack of concentration, I would say. Naivety, played a part there. Yeah, just missed opportunities, I would just say. I wouldn't really pinpoint because they defended well. They defended well. The midfield was solid. They had Noah Sadiki, the guy who plays in Sunderland with Granit Xhaka. Yes, solid in midfield, very energetic midfielder. They also had the guy with the afro. I can't pronounce his name properly. I think it's Samuel Motosami or something like that. He's always there with this. And if you see the squad of how DR Congo plays, they leave the number 8 guy alone in the defensive midfield. He's just doing the dirty work. At some points against England, the guy kept pushing forward. So the Samuel guy started pushing forward, throwing passes, spamming passes here and there, which was really nice to see from DRC Congo. A team that I already said earlier, I told people, Portugal will find it very difficult to score. But then when Portugal scored, I started saying, okay, maybe this is the wrong day. But they were right. I was right at the end. And against England, maybe they couldn't just hold their Wan-Bissaka. Oh, amazing! It was good. It was all through the tournament. He was the one that was a pivotal person that helped them through. And the outstanding player, if I would pick one outstanding player out of all these names that I've mentioned, I would pick Johan Wissa. Yeah, he was a focal point. I think everything that went through the attack went through him. Everything that they did, the creativity, just everything around the DR Congo attack went through Johan Wissa.